Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I see we've got our friend Ashley here. Ashley, what's going on? Ashley, look who I have as a guest. I'm so excited.
Hello, Ashley Love.
This is my friend Gaytrice, for anybody who does not know. Here's Joel. Hi, Joel. How you doing? I haven't talked to you in a little while. So Joel is another fellow Coloradan.
Joel, what's up?
My friend Gaytrice is also a Coloradan. And so is Ashley. Hey, we're all Coloradans, except I'm not physically there right now.
Also, Joel is in the Springs. Or hold on, let me not tell where Joel is. Joel lives in Colorado.
Somewhere. Yeah.
Okay.
So Gaytrice, why don't you tell me real quick who you are? How do we know each other? That kind of stuff.
Well, my name is Gaytrice, and you and I met this past summer because we both do awesome things for a wonderful podcast. That's so
Effed
effed
up.
up
Yep.
because I don't say the name. But yeah, so I do editing for that awesome podcast, and you do research.
I
But we
do.
got to
Yep.
spend several days together in Miami, and it was a pleasure meeting you. It was great to meet everyone that we met
It
there.
was. That was so fun. That
Yes,
was so fun.
but yeah, I live in Colorado. Um, just moved into my house about a year ago. It's a really cool house. We've got bears and deer and all that stuff around, which I am not used to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But it's great.
So it's
So
a
that's
good
a little bit
thing.
about me.
It's a good thing you took in the stray kitty then, because he may not have been able to make it.
Well, we kidnapped the kitty from Aurora. He comes from the streets of A Town, so he's a pretty a pretty tough cat.
He's a
But
hardened cat.
yeah, he was homeless for probably about 4 years, but we kidnapped him and brought him with us here, and I think he loves it.
That's cute. That's cute.
Hmm.
So, do you get like wildlife in your yard?
Well, when our fence was broken, deer would come in every day and clear out the bird feeder. So yeah, that was like my husband liked seeing that. And then
Oh.
there's bears around, but one day I have my patio door open and I'm just kind of sitting at the table and I see something in my peripheral. So I look over and I was like, whoa, it was a mama bear. And 20 seconds later, the baby comes crawling over our fence. Luckily, they didn't break it this time. And then my ring
Oh.
camera catch them going to the front yard. So we have some wildlife in the yard,
Oh.
but they're
That's
sleeping
so
now.
cute. Right. They're taking
Hmm.
their naps. Do you have like the bear proof trash cans and stuff like that?
We have straps on our trash cans.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, learned our lesson with recycle, and plus all the people around here. The Facebook page, Peggy. Whoo! It's fun to watch sometimes. So
Yeah.
people definitely let you know how they feel about trash not being in a bear proof container on the Facebook page. But yeah, we do.
That's funny. That's
Hmm.
funny. Well, so one time, we were looking for a house to buy in Kansas, and there was this like enclosure around a trash can. And so I said, "Oh, that's really smart." So, because it was like out in the country, and I said, "Oh, that's really smart. So, in case the bears come out," and the realtor looked at me really funny, and she goes, "We don't have bears in Kansas."
What were they for then?
I don't know. They apparently just wanted to fortify their trash.
Okay, there you go.
I mean, it does get really windy there, but it was funny. I'm like, oh, okay. There's no bears in Kansas. Got it. So our friend Auntie joined us too. Auntie is from Finland. Hi.
Hi,
He's
Auntie.
always a really great supporter. Joel says, I was raised in Aurora. Do not miss it. I remember it in the 50s and 60s. It started changing in the 70s, and now it's just a big city with all that, with all the crap that it entails.
You were preaching to the choir, Joel. I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I miss my neighbors and everything, but it's it's a little bit crazy. The neighborhood I'm in
Hmm.
now is quiet until I start talking and laughing.
That's awesome. So, I asked you here today because we both have a bunch in common. But one of the things that we talked about that we had in common that I thought was neat was that we both have been in customer service for a long time. Like for me, I've been doing customer service jobs like my very first job when I was 14.
Hmm.
All the way up through now. I mean, kind of. I guess my customers are children right now. And let me tell you, they do complain
Yeah.
if you don't do something right.
Hmm.
um, but let me tell me a little bit about your background in customer service.
Okay, Peggy. So, when I was 21, I started waiting tables at an Italian restaurant, and I did yeah, I waited tables, and then eventually I learned to bartend. I did a lot of training with them, but I worked for that restaurant for over 20 years. I would just pick up shifts. Like I did the whole thing. I was a manager, did my kitchen training, but after a while, it's just like, no, I don't need to have that stress because being a manager, I, in my opinion, you've got to be a specific person for that because I don't think you have a good quality of life as a rest, or I didn't. Not to
Mm.
downgrade anybody else that does it because
Right.
there's some people that are balling and making a lot of money and that's just their
Yeah.
passion. But for me, um, I didn't enjoy it, but I did love waiting tables and bartending and things like that. And then after COVID started, I just did that as the side because I have a full-time job. And so I would wait tables occasionally. But then after COVID hit, I didn't need to wait tables. Plus, restaurants were closed for a little while. So that's where that stopped. But also,
Okay.
my other experience in customer service, which was a doozy, is I was a gate agent for about 4 years and talk about people losing their
Oh
flipping
my
minds.
gosh. I can
Yeah.
imagine. I can
Yes.
imagine. People are
Hmm.
at their worst when they're flying.
I just love the fact that I got blamed for everything.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because that's one thing I try to remind people that the person that you're talking to is not the corporation. They're literally just, I mean, sometimes they're minimum wage workers or sometimes they're just hourly wage workers, and they're
Hmm.
not the ones that screwed up your whatever it is, your flight, your food, they're personally not the one that screwed that up. And so it's hard for people to understand. They need someone to yell at that moment, and it's hard for them to take a step back and go, "Oh yeah, this person standing here at the gate, even though they represent the company that I'm, upset with right now,
Hmm.
they're not personally the ones that screwed with my flight."
Peggy, it could be their fault, like,
Yeah.
so they recommend that you get to the air, or back when I was doing this, they recommended that you get to your gate about, or no, you get to the airport 2 hours before your flight.
Right.
So we could see when people would check in, their flight's about 45 minutes, they've got bags. And now, or back then, it was getting busier and busier. Then you never know how security is going to be. So it takes them
Yeah.
a long time to get through security. And by the time they get to the gate, you can't be late. I'm like, you're under pressure to get all these aircraft out on time.
Yeah.
And the airline that I worked for, the doors closed 10 minutes prior to departure. Because I worked for
Oh, okay.
like an express. I worked for an express airline, so
Oh, okay.
it wasn't that big as it wasn't like the big uh, aircraft that had like hundreds and hundreds of people. So I worked
Yeah.
for a little one, but the flight closed 10 minutes prior to departure. It read that on their ticket, and then they show up at the time the plane's supposed to leave. They can see their plane, but I'm like, hey, the plane is not waiting for you. I see it.
Right.
I see it. Open the doors. I apologize, ma'am. Give me one moment, or sir. I'll try to get you on the next flight.
Mhm. Yeah,
That
there's
was a
nothing you can
reason.
do.
Or this was my favorite one. Somebody is walking up with the most delicious looking Starbucks drink in the whole wide world, and they missed their flight because they had to stop at Starbucks to get their drink. So
Oh
they're
my
like,
gosh.
I missed my flight. And I said, you sure did. That drink looks delicious, by the way. But it's my flight. It's my fault that they
Yeah.
missed their flight. So,
Oh my gosh.
mm-hmm.
um last May, or not last May, last June, I was flying from New York to California when I moved out here. And it was me and my teenage son, and then we had two dogs with us that were going on the plane with us. And we were in Philadelphia for our like layover.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my son are just sitting there. We're both like on our phones. We've got headphones on. We're not paying attention to anything. And all of a sudden I look up and I notice that like the crowd around me had disappeared. And I'm like, I think we're supposed to board now. We like go over to the gate agents, and they're like really upset with us, and they're like, we've been calling and calling, this was the last call, we shouldn't even be letting you on. And I'm like, oops.
Yeah.
We were sitting right there, we just were lost in
You
our own
were
little worlds. And
you didn't listen to your headphones.
yeah, it was a little embarrassing. And I think sometimes about what would I have done if I had missed my flight, because I'm sitting there with my son and two dogs. We weren't going to get into Vegas until 10 o'clock at night as it was. And then we still had a 3-hour drive home ahead of us. So I'm just like, I was so grateful that you ever notice sometimes you just have that sense where something like changed and you're like, oh wait, I should pay attention right now.
Yes.
I feel like that happens to me a lot. So my background in customer service is, I think partially because I move around so much, I've had a lot of jobs. I did get the chance to be a stay-at-home mom with the kids for about 10 years, which was really, really nice. It just, you'd have super tight budget being in a military family. Military doesn't get paid as well as they should.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved getting to stay home with the kids when they were little and growing up. But I do enjoy customer service jobs. I enjoy like talking to people and meeting new people and stuff. One of my favorite jobs was when I lived in Colorado Springs. I worked at a Panera, and I really liked that because in the mornings we have so many regulars, like places like Starbucks and stuff like that. There's so many
Totally.
regulars that come in every single day. And so it was fun to get to see them all the time and talk to them. And then I worked at a toy store for probably about 3.5 years between like high school, and then like I got pregnant with my daughter while I was working there. And then I quit after she came because I couldn't do retail hours anymore. It was in the mall. You remember those old stores in the mall called KB Toys?
I do.
Yeah, that's where I lived. Well, that's where I
Sometimes.
worked. Yeah. So I was assistant manager there, and then at the time when I got pregnant, they were actually grooming me to take over like this really tiny little store in Milwaukee. So I was actually really excited that I was going to probably make a career out of this at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, managing a store sounded fun, and I was already, as an assistant manager, she was having me do all like full manager stuff anyways, since she was kind of training me. But I did just drop the job. I walked in one day after I had my daughter, because I was supposed to have 6 weeks off, and I said, hey, by the way, I am quitting. And she was like, okay, well, that sucks, you could have told me before.
Peggy.
I
You didn't
did.
get the notice, huh?
I did that. I felt so bad. But I loved working there, and I loved like working with toys, but toy stores bring out the worst in kids, just the worst. There isn't a day where some kid isn't laying in the middle of an aisle crying.
Mm-hmm.
They want
Sometimes I
this.
think
They want
restaurants bring
that.
the worst out of them as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Because
for
one of my
sure.
favorite things is the parents. Okay, I'll tell you a couple of stories,
Yeah.
and I'll try to make it quick. So I just love the fact in where parents are sitting at their table, and apparently the restaurant has turned into a playground where they run around and they pick the most dangerous area to run, and it's usually where the hot food is coming out of. So you're
Oh
like,
no.
where does this kid belong, so that I don't get yelled at or sued for burning them with some hot food because they're
Yeah.
running around and a plate drops on them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Mm-hmm.
fun. Or there's another one. I don't even think I could blame the kid for this one. So let me take back what I said, because it's not even the kid's fault. But not to gross anyone out, but there was a lady that's got her kid, and it's like, I don't know, maybe one or two, and for some reason this kid thought that the salt shaker was something for them to put in and out of their mouth. So I am just mortified. I'm grossed out, and I'm
Mm.
watching this, and the mom is deep in her conversation. As soon as they left, I threw it away, because I'm like, I can't deal with that. But you never know.
There's no sanitizing that.
No, there's not. It's just gross.
That is really gross. When my youngest was really little, we used to go out to eat with these certain friends. And they would always dare him to like make a concoction of everything that was on the table, all the sugar and salt and pepper and ketchup and whatever like was on the table. Um, is so he would always make this little concoction. He wouldn't eat it, but he would like taste it. They
Mm-hmm.
always thought that that was so funny that he would do that. Whatever was like the Parmesan cheese or, any restaurant that we would go to, they would be like, hey, why don't you make your, I don't remember what they called it. I think they called it soup or something,
Okay.
encouraging my children to do naughty things.
Yeah, that's a great core memory.
Um,
Did they grow out
so
of that?
They do.
Okay.
Yes. Actually, I mean, they kind of revert after a while because in the schools that I work in 3 different schools and I do lunch monitoring and recess monitoring. And the kids will still mix some gross stuff on their trays. They'll still
Mm-hmm.
go to the little condiment table and get whatever they can and mix some gross stuff on their trays.
You gotta love kids. Peggy, let me go back to a point that you said, though. You were talking about how much you enjoyed working in the toy store.
Hmm.
And so far, I've told kind of the crazy parts of my customer service experience, but I actually did enjoy the waiting tables part. That was
Yeah.
like something that was fun for me, because like you were, or no, you were talking about Panera, because regulars, I love having regulars, and then a lot of them have become my friends, and this is
Right.
through me just being me, and then also getting to know them. I'll tell you a little trick that I was taught with my restaurant, but also my experience in customer service, I believe helps me out even in the job that I have right now,
Yeah.
because I work with other departments and I try to treat them as my customer. So I don't want to be rude with so I work for an airline, but when somebody needs some help from me, I'm not going to be rude to a mechanic or a buyer or anything like that. And I try to help them out in a timely manner. So for me, they're my quote unquote customer. And just that experience with that, or with waiting tables,
Yeah.
just helped me to treat people the way I want to be treated.
Right, right. You
And then,
learn
yeah.
a lot of really good communication skills when you're working in any type of customer service because a lot of times you're going to be that liaison between the customer and the restaurant. You're going to be the one who's communicating with whatever the issue is at the restaurant, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I've always kind of like prided myself, prided myself on like really good communication skills, but working in any kind of customer service job, I think really teaches you how to communicate with all kinds of people, because you'll literally have in a restaurant, you'll have every kind of person, you know, imaginable come into your restaurant at some point.
And someone can get upset with you over something, or maybe you're reading their body language wrong. I know there were several times where okay, so I'm going to tell everybody that's watching, if you haven't seen this movie Waiting, it is the most hilarious movie about the whole restaurant industry.
Is
It's
that
got
one the Ryan Reynolds one?
yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
okay.
kind of gross. It's like it's really gross, but it's hilarious and it's kind of true at the same time. But what is my point? Oh, I just remember like you've got a table that's kind of standoffish. I would always walk up to them and I say, "Hello, my name is Gaytrice." Gaytrice like waitress, so I didn't have to say my name over 10 times. And the first thing is, "I'll have iced tea," and I'm like, "Okay, that's ugh." But you've got somebody that's just running you, running you, running you, and then you're just
Mm,
like, "Boy, this person can't stand me." I'd go in the back and complain, but while I was there, just let me be professional or whatever.
right.
Just have your patience.
Hmm.
Um, and then it turns out that it's probably just them, and I got left a better tip than I thought I was going to have.
Oh,
Or I had,
nice.
yeah, or I had
Yeah.
another one where this this lady was just, I don't know, she was kind of standoffish and just whatever. And I was kind of like, some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. You got to read your table. But I
Yeah.
just brought her stuff, and then eventually she opened up to me, and her child was at the children's hospital, fighting cancer or something. And so she
Oh,
was kind of bummed. And then after that, just my experience in the restaurant, I don't know. Some people think sometimes I'm a little too nice. I'm a super nice person. I don't want to yell at anybody. I don't really want to have confrontation. If I have to, then I'll do it in a kind way. But it just helped me to realize that you don't know what somebody is going through. So, boom.
yeah. Yeah. You are always really kind, and you're like,
I
from what I've gotten to know about you is that you're always like concerned about other people's well-beings,
I try.
like when we were on our trip in Miami, you and Ashley were so similar in that you both are like mothering, you both have like that mothering nature.
Oh snap!
And I thought what was funny was, um so the other four of us, we all had kids. And I thought that it was really funny that the two women who were like the most mothering on the trip were the two women that didn't have kids,
Mm-hmm.
because you two were just like always making sure, like, are you guys okay? Is everything okay? Does anybody need anything? And I thought that that was so sweet. You two were just so like caring and making sure everybody was okay all the time. And
Well, thank you, Peggy.
yeah, it
That's
was.
I had to get it out somehow, right? Let me do my mothering stuff somehow.
Well, you got your doggy and your kitty. You still have the
Yeah.
puppy?
The dog went back to his family.
Oh, he did now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Because I know you were a
Yeah.
long time like fostering, right?
Oh yeah. Coco, he went back to his family. It was a little sad.
I bet.
Oh yeah. But the cat seems to be happy. The cat's roaming around the house and wants his love, so that's good.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't too happy when the
He
doggy was there.
he did a great job though. I'm proud of
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And I'll get to see Coco. I'm sure his family will travel again and ask us to watch him, and it'll
Oh,
be not
okay.
like that long, but
Hmm.
oh, we're going somewhere for a week or a couple of days. I'll
Oh,
watch the
yeah.
dog.
Yeah, yeah. You're like,
Hmm.
yes, yes, I'll take him.
But yeah, a mom to animals. That's as far as I'll go. I'll be the best aunt or aunt. I'm a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll, but I'll be the best aunt in the whole wide world. And if any friends have babies and they need me to watch them, I'm going to do it
Mm.
on a temporary basis.
You're gonna come take the baby back, but
Oh, well, I'll bring them back for you if you get me a
um,
car seat.
I know. Yeah. I love being an auntie. I have like I have a lot of like honorary nieces and nephews, or nibblings, as one might call them.
Mm-hmm.
I have only like one blood niece, you know. My sister has one child, and then she has two little boys. So I am lucky that I get to be in their lives, and like be a big part of their lives. I love being an auntie. It's so much easier than being a parent.
Um, I'm gonna say yes. You're gonna because I've babysat for some friends before,
Yeah.
and it's only been a day.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, did those kids wear me out. So
Yeah.
being full
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
so
Oh yeah.
I get to borrow my nephew this upcoming week. So I'm excited about
Oh,
that.
really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yep, he's 9.
Oh, that's a really fun age
Yes, it'll be a great time.
when they
It'll
still
be a
love
great
to
time.
play. And
Mm-hmm.
um so I do have one funny story about the toy store. And in the 90s, do you remember the Tickle Me Elmo doll?
Yes, I do.
So um I want to say it was Christmas of 96. I'm pretty sure. I graduated high school in 96, so I'm pretty sure it was like that next Christmas. The Tickle Me Elmo came out, and it went on like, I don't know, Oprah or Regis, or like one of those daytime talk shows.
Mm-hmm.
And because it went on there, it blew up. It was insane. It was like Cabbage Patch Doll kind of days, where nobody could find this stupid Tickle Me Elmo anywhere. It
Yep.
was out everywhere. And so in October of that year, we had like a whole display of them. We got in a bunch of them, like in anticipation that they were going to be popular that year. But when it came into December and people were like clearing the shelves of them, they were buying like 2, 3, 4 of them, selling them online. That's when we first started selling stuff online. People were selling them online for hundreds of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the story that Madonna had bought one for her kid for like $1,000 or something like that. And all it was this little Elmo doll that laughed. I mean, that was it. Like, you tickled its belly, it had a little sensor in its belly, and then it laughed. And it, like, adults wanted it, teenagers wanted it, everybody wanted this stupid thing. So in December, we were only getting in like limited quantities. We weren't getting in, like huge shipments of them or anything. We were kind of a smaller store. And then there's a Toys R Us, like not in the mall with us, but like directly outside of the mall. And so people would call us like daily. They would call us, and then they call Toys R Us, like daily. Do you have Tickle Me Elmos? Do you have Tickle Me Elmos? And you know how you usually only get shipment like once a week. So we would get a shipment, we'd get like 10 in, and they would be gone. In the beginning, we were like trying to hold them for people and like be nice about it. But as time kind of went on and people were like less nice to us about it, then we're like, okay, we're not holding these for anybody anymore because you people suck.
It's the customer service is very, very challenging.
Hmm.
Actually, I'll tell you something, and Ashley might, I don't know if I've ever told her this or not, but this is like you just can't make people happy. And I don't know, I don't think I would ever have this conversation. Well, I don't have a kid. I don't have kids, but um let me just tell you the story. So I'm waiting on a table, and one of my coworkers was walking by, and I think she might have forgotten something. And she says, "Oh, F." But she doesn't say F. Let's say,
Hmm.
"Oh, fudge." We'll stay in the Christmas spirit if you've ever seen that movie. So she says fudge under her breath. And the person at my table, it's a dad, a mom, and a little kid. The dad heard this. So he says, you need to go get your manager right now. So my manager goes over, and it turns out that the dad heard that, and he wanted this girl reprimanded. I think he wanted her fired because he said to himself, how am I going to explain to my kid what this means? I bet the kid didn't hear it. But it's
Yeah.
like I understand. So I am not much of a cursor,
Right.
but I remember that. And so I try not to curse, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Just like
Because,
watch your language.
well, yeah,
Uh-huh.
just because people are, and that was back in the day. Now, and that was actually back in the day where you couldn't have tattoos showing. I had my
Oh
nose
yeah.
pierced. I had to take my nose piercing out. And it's kind of good that things have changed, but I remember that story. It's like you never know what somebody is going to be, their customer interpretation. Because I
Yeah.
remember another story too. I agree with the customer, but we had a server that snuck into the restroom to go and text on her phone.
Mm.
So all she's doing, she's in the stall, she's texting on her phone. But she goes out of the bathroom and the customer doesn't see her wash her hands. So she is mortified.
Oh no.
Yeah, the girl went to go use her phone and then went out. You're not supposed to be on your phone anyways. It should have been in her pocket.
Yeah.
And so another thing that I learned with dealing with customers is to kind of think about it from their point of view. Because I'm like, this girl isn't going to be nasty like that, but you just got to think about what customers are going through. And
Right.
Joel wrote a comment. It was it reads, I was raised in a family furniture biz, and in my near 70 years of life, thank you, he's seen the downfall of customer service. It's almost not at all, or what is it? It is almost not at all in some places. The bigger the place, the worse it is. Um, I'm likely to agree with you on that. I mean, I think it just depends on the place. Because I've gone
Yeah.
places where I had, bleh. Actually, a couple of months ago, and as I said, Gaytrice, are you about to be a Karen? But I was so annoyed. It was early in the morning, and for some reason, I watch too much TV, so I'm paranoid to put my card in the gas reader. I always get money to fill up my car, so I pay in cash. I mean, it's
Oh.
annoying, but I don't know. Just watch out for me in the future. I'm gonna be one of those old ladies that that has my shade down and foil around my house, something. I don't know. But anyways, right now I'm partially normal. But anyways, I go, it's probably 7 o'clock in the morning, 6:37 in the morning, and I go to my gas station to go get gas. And the lady that was attending the gas thing, okay, so it's like it was King Supers.
Hmm.
So the grocery store or whatever. So she is stocking. So I get out of my car and she's stocking like sodas. And I kid you not, she looks at me and she goes, already. And I'm just thinking to myself, why are you upset with me? I'm not the one that told you to stock something. And
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to do something that's not your job. But
Yeah.
anyways, she goes inside the little booth and I'm like, can I get $60 of gas? And I happen to have $100 bill. She's no. I showed her the bill, and she's like, I don't have change for that. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to put $20 in. I'm going to do 60. So you
Yeah.
don't have two 20s, four 10s, whatever. So
Yeah.
her attitude was just like, I don't have change for that. And I said, okay, thank you. And I actually did have like a little bit of cash in my car, I just happen to have that. And don't anybody in Colorado, don't come up to me. I'm not a baller. I just happen to have a little bit of money. Then normally I use my card, so boom. But I was so annoyed with her. First, I was going to drive by and tell her, I hope your day gets better. But I said, that might set her off or whatever. But I did
Yeah.
call. I called the store. I waited on hold forever, and I said, I don't want her to get in trouble, but I think somebody needs to go check on the lady that's at the gas station because I've dealt with her before and I have no idea what's going on with her. But for me, it doesn't make me feel good for to walk up and want to get gas and for her to and roll
Yeah.
her eyes at me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then the whole thing about the change. And the manager said, all right, well, it's early in the morning and we don't keep that change. And I said, all right, I'll get over that part. But
Mhm.
it's not nice for somebody to roll their eyes and stuff
No.
like that. Maybe she was having a bad day. And I just
Yep.
said, somebody please go check on her. I don't want her to get in trouble, but I did do my Karen thing. Let me stop saying Karen. I know Karens that are super nice. Bless their hearts. That
I
stinks.
know. I know. I hate that for them.
It's like Felicia too. My mom's name
Yeah.
is Felicia.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Hi,
No.
Felicia. She can't stand it. But
Oh,
anyways,
no.
yeah. And but to the point, I'm like, is all customer service, is it going downhill? Maybe a little bit because sometimes people are mean to them,
Mhm.
or sometimes people feel entitled. They think that I don't know, we need to jump up and down for them. I
Right.
don't know what to do. I just know that again, like I said earlier, I try to treat people how I want to be treated,
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
tip too.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't be a bad tipper.
I accidentally, well, not accidentally, but I got my hair cut last week and the haircut was way more expensive than I thought it was going to be. And so at the end she tells me my total and I had $60 in cash in my pocket because I
Mm-hmm.
thought the haircut was 45. And so then I thought, I'll just be like a nice Christmas tipper and give her a little extra and just give her the whole 60. I swear I thought that the haircut was going to be 45. It was almost double that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I did not have that in my pocket. So she's like, "Oh, I have a card on file for you. Do you want me to just use that?" And I'm like, "I guess."
Mm-hmm.
But then all I had was the 20s. So I ended up giving her a $20 tip. And I'm like, man, I just got screwed.
That stinks. You know what though? This is the thing. What I've learned also is with my experience waiting tables, I always made sure I told people if something was going to be an extra charge because after a while we started charging extra for if you wanted Alfredo sauce and people that have been there forever, you just let them know. I'm like, it's not me saying that, oh, I it's just being clear with your communication
Yeah, that's really good.
so that people know they're not shocked
Hmm.
because that is shocking for it to be double.
Right,
I agree
right.
with you. I'm like, I
Hmm.
would be annoyed with that as well.
Hmm. I didn't I didn't say anything and like so sometimes the mood strikes me and I'll say something and sometimes I just let stuff go.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was my error, so I wasn't going to be like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait a minute." I was checking out like several so where I live on my army base in California, we're really like isolated out here.
Hmm.
Like yesterday my son and I drove almost an hour and a half to go to the movies.
Oh, snap.
um so they have what they call home-based businesses here on the army base and anybody can start a home-based business and you can do anything. Like some people have little like to go restaurants out of their house and some people do childcare or dog sitting or there's so many different kinds of home-based businesses here and there are a handful of people that do haircuts and so I was comparing different people that have haircut businesses here and so I'm like well I could have very well read somebody else's website and then booked with her. I don't remember what I was doing,
You
but
didn't ask her?
yeah, I think next time, well, I won't go back to her. I mean, there was nothing wrong with her. She was really nice and she did a good job. She did like exactly what I asked, but that's very, very pricey for a haircut.
No. I see. For me, I'd be like, it's like this is for one. Okay.
Yeah, I
Yep.
know.
Thank you. Thank you. And
This was
that's
just
crazy. How does she have your card on file? You've gone to her before?
no, the I think she took reservations through one of
Oh.
those apps where you have to put your card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that either. But
No,
don't. This is
yeah.
a different topic. We won't get on that topic.
Oh
Not at all. Um, let's see here. So now I'm thinking back about my days when I first started waiting tables. I remember it was the funniest thing. I had somebody snap at me. So I walked away from the table and the and the man did this thing to me.
no.
Yeah. And I walked up to him and I had my head down and I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just snapped at me. I've never had anybody do that before. I don't know what to do." And the wife pops him on his arm. She's like, "You apologize." I said, "Oh my
Nice.
gosh, I can't believe I would have ever said that before." Believe it or not, Peggy, I used to be shy. I used to be super duper duper shy. And
Okay.
waiting tables and having to deal with people helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then waiting tables, I believe helped me out in uh, the airline industry. I mean, I kind of started losing my patience a little bit because I did it for 4 years,
Mhm.
but people are upset. You know, a flight gets canceled. I don't know what it is. I think maybe when they go through the security, as soon as they go through that security, people just lose their flipping minds because I don't know, the airport just does that to them.
It
But
does. Yeah.
anyways, I would get yelled at, cursed at, and you'd be like, for me, I'm listening to the other customer service agents. They've been there forever, and they just didn't take any crap. And I'd be like, I understand what you mean, sir. I can understand how that's frustrating. And they would not stop. And it's like, well, it's kind of difficult for me to help you out while you're cursing at me. If you'd stop talking and stop cursing at me, I can explain to you what I can do for you. And then, like you said before, they're like, well, why did you cancel my flight? And I said, let's just say I worked at United. I said, my last name is not United. I can't cancel anything. You know what I mean? I was a little bit of a smart aleck. And it's like, yeah, I know what you mean, but that's what you said. I'm super literal. So I didn't cancel anything. I'm going to try to help you out. Please stop. But there was something that happened to people. Somebody threw ice cream at my manager. They missed their flight probably because they stopped to get the ice cream and they threw it at her.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
gosh.
mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Crazy.
Have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
No. Who's in that? Is that Steve Martin?
Yeah, Steve Martin and John
I,
Candy.
I
There's
probably
this
have, but I don't remember it.
we watch it because it's a like the sequence is over Thanksgiving weekend. And
Mm-hmm.
so we always watch it as a family every Thanksgiving. And there's a scene where Steve Martin is supposed to get a rental car, and so he's at an airport, and so he gets on the shuttle. The shuttle goes all the way out to wherever their lot is, right? And the car, the space where his car's supposed to be is empty. So the shuttle leaves, so he ends up having to walk all the way back to the airport to where the rental counter is. And the lady at the rental counter is all cheery and chipper, and she's like talking to her sister on the phone about Thanksgiving dinner, and she's like, ah! She's being all, just very happy and excited. And he comes up and he goes, I don't remember the exact lines, but he uses the F word a lot. So he's like, I want 4 effing tires, 2 effing doors, like he's like
Mm-hmm.
describing a car. He's like, and I want it now. And he's just like so pissed. And her face gets like kind of sad as he's yelling at her more. And then she asked, well, can I have your rental agreement, please? He goes, well, I can't give it to you because I tore it up. And then she gets this little like sassy look in her eye. And then she's like, well, I guess you're fucked.
See, payback is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Payback is really nice. But you know what though? Now also you're making me think about me when I've called to talk to customer service
Right. Mm-hmm.
because Whew, I tell you what, sometimes the energy people or the cable, Great Caesar's Ghost, do they get on my flipping nerves? I mean, I don't know why we pay this money to have the internet. So it's not the cable, the internet.
Uh-huh.
And then it goes out. And then all of a sudden you've got a contract for that you have this amount of, like you've got a deal for a year. But I don't pay attention when that happens. Now all of a sudden my bill is, instead of $80, it's 160. And
Yeah.
you have to call them to talk to them. And even though I'm ticked off, I think about the fact that I need them to help me.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to calm down.
Right.
But whew, it's not easy sometimes.
No, for
But
sure.
so far, I've they've been nice to me because I'm nice to them, even if I'm heated, Peggy. Even if I'm heated, it's good.
Um, that reminds me, this past summer, my parents came up to New York when we were living there when my son was graduating high school. And they got a little cabin, like an Airbnb. And when they got to the cabin, there was no like code or anything on the door. So they were trying to figure out how to get in. So my mom called the Airbnb number, and she was talking to some poor girl who happened to answer the phone at that point in time. And I guess this phone call took almost an hour. And my mom was just livid because they didn't have her reservation. They didn't have her name anywhere in the system. And like the girl asked a couple times, like, are you sure that it was us that you booked through? Are you sure it was Airbnb? And my mom, I think after almost an hour, it finally clicked in her head. And she goes, oh, this is a Verbo, not an Airbnb.
Ah,
So she had called the wrong people, screamed at some poor girl for almost an hour. She was mad. She was like yelling at her. And I'm like, Mom,
did she
that's,
apologize?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've had that happen to me. I had somebody. Okay, so I haven't worked for this restaurant for 15 years, and we did just have a menu change. But this lady ordered a dish that the ingredients were shrimp, scallions, Alfredo sauce. But we did just have a new menu roll out. So she says to me, and actually it wasn't even my table. I'm just dropping off the food. And she says, "Isn't this supposed to have scallops in it?" And I said, "No, ma'am, it doesn't have scallops. It's got the shrimp, Alfredo sauce, blah, blah, blah." And she says, "This is supposed to have scallops." And I said, "It has never come with scallops before." So she's like, "Go get the menu." And I said to myself, "Okay, I'll go get the menu." And as I'm reading the menu, because I was like, please don't let it say scallions. It said scallion. So I looked at her and I said, "Ma'am, shrimp scallions." And I was like, "It would be my pleasure to get you some scallops." She's like, "No, that's okay." I said, "Ugh, you
Oh my
nasty."
gosh.
But
That's so funny.
okay. I don't know if I should.
It's kind of like instant karma,
Mm-hmm. But also, I'm like, you got to be careful who you're with too. I've been in vehicles with people and you order through the drive-through, and sometimes they're not nice to the drive-through people,
Yeah.
just yelling at them. Then they turn over and say, "Gaytrice, what would you like?" And I said, "I think I'm going to be okay because I don't want my shaker burger with a little bit of extra goodness in it."
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So I'm like, "Nope, you have fun eating and drinking whatever they put in that because you treated them like doo doo."
Oh my
And
God.
I'm like, if I'm hungry, I'll wait. It'll be a little bit. But thank you. And be
That's
nice to
smart.
people.
That's gross.
It is gross, but I don't know what they're doing to it. Because
My
well, if I weren't me, I would do something to it. So if I weren't me, I totally
like the
Hmm.
hamburger happened to hit the floor or
Yeah, or something else. But anyways,
my dad had he used to have the hardest time going through drive-throughs, and he would always end up yelling at them. And it was like he prefers to go in someplace and order, like he'll go into McDonald's and get food. He hates drive-throughs, but he used to just bellow. I remember one time um I was an adult because I had the kids up at my parents with me, and my dad is screaming at the lady, and the lady says, "Excuse me, sir, you do not have to yell at me." And she's like, "I can hear you just fine. You don't need to yell." And he just takes off. He just puts the car in drive and goes. He's like, "I'm never going there again." And it's just like,
I love TikTok when they show the videos of people, um, like a customer is yelling at them or something, and then they kind of get back at them. And I'm always like, oh,
Mhm.
I hope you didn't get fired. That's only if the customer is rude.
Right, right.
And
Hmm.
there's that rule that you've always heard: the customer is always right.
Hmm. No, not at
Mm-mm.
all.
No, 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 no.
There's probably more times than not that the customer's wrong. And I think now in customer service, we're starting to point that stuff out more often. Like we're not letting customers get away with, so much anymore.
Well, you just have to be careful because I think some of them know how to play the game because there were people that would come in. I wouldn't say every week, but every other week, once a month, to order something
Mhm.
or order it to go, and it's never ever ever right, never right. And they're paying for it with a gift certificate that they got sent from the home office because they complained, and then they come back in and complain. And my thing, this was back when I was managing, and I'm thinking to myself, why do you still keep coming here? If you
Yeah.
don't ever do anything right,
Yeah.
why? It's
You
just mm.
just some people just want to complain all the time though.
But let me talk about the happy stuff because again, just it's just so great if you enjoy customer service, which I,
Hmm.
I enjoyed the waiting tables part of it, and it was just so much fun when I would just see the regulars and
Hmm.
being able to talk with them, or even new people. I mean, Valentine's Day, is that my favorite day of the year? It's flipping busy. Like you are so busy. Do you make a little bit of extra money? It just depends. But it was just so nice to see people maybe on their first date, which I think is kind of crazy to go to a restaurant on Valentine's Day for your first date,
Yeah.
or oh, hey, can you sneak this cake out because it's their birthday, or
Oh, yeah.
mm-hmm,
Fun
or
stuff.
the fun stuff.
Hmm.
But when it was time to go, I'm like, please, please don't take that long because the restaurant I worked at was just dinner only.
Oh, okay.
And and this makes me think about that movie Waiting. You've got to watch it. If it was slow and you close at 10 o'clock and we're just counting down, you're just looking, it's 9:55,
Yeah.
nobody's there. Then all of a sudden somebody walks in at
Mm,
9:56.
yeah.
And the philosophy was that you're not going to lock the doors open because technically you're open until 10 o'clock. I've been places where the sign says
Mm.
they're open until 6 and you're there at 5:45, it's already locked. And
Oh, yeah.
that's just, oh, that's not cool.
Right,
But you're
right.
thinking to yourself, please, 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 don't take that long. And they walk in. What time do you close? In 5 minutes. Oh, we won't be long. Okay. And what does the we won't be long means? I'll start off with an appetizer. and a bottle of wine. I was like, oh,
Oh
okay.
no.
But it was their experience. So I'll let you
Yeah.
do that. Just hurry
Yeah.
up and pay and don't stay. Like the love bugs. There was one table in the back. There was the love bug section. I'm like, you can be lovey dovey, but please get out of here at 10 o'clock. Now it's 10:30. What are you talking about? Don't be doing nothing nasty either. It's a restaurant.
Oh my God.
Peggy, you want to hear something bad?
What?
I've never done this before.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I've never done this before. But we've had people where you're like, table so and so won't leave. They won't leave. And they're and then somebody else is asking this. They said, "You want me to go bomb them?" Do you know what that means?
Yeah, go fart.
Yes. Make it a little smell. I don't know how you can control it, but I'm like, just wait. We'll see. We'll give them 15 more minutes and eventually they'll leave. But that's kind of bad.
That is
That's an
so funny. Oh my
insider
God.
joke. Was that too
Huh.
bad to say? That's nasty, huh?
It is gross, but it's hilarious. Now I
Yeah.
wonder. Do you go to restaurants and are you like judgy and stuff? Like
What
I'll
do you
go to
mean?
restaurants and I'll be like judgy over because I've done every job in a restaurant you can do except I have never like waited tables. I've never been like an actual waitress, but
Mm-hmm.
I've done everything else there is to do. So I'll get really judgy about things. I went to culinary school and we were taught in culinary school both front of the house and back of the house duties. And um when I was learning front of the house duties, which that was the only place I ever used those skills, I know that there was a big thing about like women's ponytails and like
Mm-hmm.
carrying trays of food and ponytails like getting in their food and stuff. And so
Ooh.
that's one of my things is like, if you find a hair in your food, um, chances are it probably didn't come from the back. Chances are it came from that transition between, because in the back, everybody's got hats on,
Mm-hmm.
hats or hairnets. So it's kind of hard for hair to get into food. But that transition from the back of the house to now the front of the house, and at that point in time, as you know, several different people could have handled that food.
Mm-hmm.
And then
So if
when
you
you've
see
got
somebody carrying food with a ponytail, that drives
yeah,
you with
when
it
you've got the
dangling.
women and the
Ugh.
ponytails. And so the lady who taught us, she would tell us to always like put your hair up, like put your hair in a bun or something like that. So that's one of the things that I get kind of judgy about. Like if your hair touches my food, I'm gonna get really upset.
Yeah. I never
Or
had that problem.
no.
Mm-mm. No. My hair's short. I would have the people be like, I have this hair in my food. And I looked at them and to try to make them not so upset, I said, at least you know it's not mine. Sometimes they would laugh. Sometimes not. I'm like, let's try to not kill them, but kill them with kindness so that they're not yelling at me. And yes, I'll get you something right away. Then also, I'm looking at the person that's got hair in their food, and they've got this this flipping hair. Not every time, of course, but I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
alrighty. Is it
You
is it
sure it's
gross?
not
It's gross.
yours? Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm like, alrighty. It would again, it's like it'd be my pleasure to get you another one. But yeah, no, for me, it would be so I I don't appreciate it if somebody puts another table's dishes on my tray or my table while they're trying to do something. That doesn't happen a lot, but that did happen once. So I'm
Mm.
like, ugh. But for the most part, after just being in the business, I try to see how the restaurant is being managed. Does the manager know that my server is in the weeds. That was one of the terms. I'm sure you know that. In the weeds is when a server's super busy. So I'm like, so they'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm in the weeds. I'm in the weeds. So does a manager know that this server needs a little bit of help? Like maybe you gave them too many tables or
Yeah.
they're new or something. So because I know somebody's like, your tip depends on if I have to ask for a refill or not. So I'm thinking to
I
myself,
know.
okay,
Mm,
well, there you go, Gaytrice. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna worry about that tips. Like I'll try to keep it like that, but I don't
yeah.
know. Everything now it's got big old huge glasses, and I only drink about one, unless I'm drinking my wine. Then I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
keep them coming. No, don't do
Yeah.
that. No, don't do that. But something like that. If it's just somebody that like would sit somebody else's dishes on my table, or I don't know why anybody would be eating, but if I see somebody that maybe um they'll do this, and I'm like
Oh,
to maybe
yep.
lift their paper or something, it's like
Hmm.
that's not good.
Yeah, no, that's
But
gross.
for the most part, I'm pretty chill. And I've had
Yeah.
great experiences. I'm like, oh boy, I just got to try to remember the person's name. We'll go to a restaurant. I'm like, God, dog, I can't remember their name.
Then you can snap. Excuse
Hmm.
me.
Yeah, Peggy, that was good. Exactly.
I noticed one day when I was at work that I was like snapping at the children to get their attention. I was like,
Hmm.
hello. And then I was like, oh, I think that's rude. I think it's rude to snap at people.
It is. You know what else is rude? A little kid to touch on your butt. I had that happen to me. It was just a baby. I'm just like, I'm minding my own business. I said, what is going on? Excuse you, sir. You take me out to dinner first with your little cute self. Stop. Excuse me, you cutie patootie. But yeah, no, I loved being in that business, and I kind of tell myself that I'm still in customer service, but
Mhm.
then kind of thank goodness I'm not, because I love people, but I just want them. I want them to be happy.
Right. Hmm.
I want to deal with all the happy people, shiny
Yeah.
happy people. Oh
Yeah.
snap! I'm talking about the REM song. I was like, let's do the REM song, not the
Not the
anything
crazy
else.
Duggars.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. You know what I did do once though? I oh, I've had tables, they just work you. As soon as you've got a table that just works you, it's I don't want to definitely don't stereotype, because I stereotyped once, not race, but I had some prom kids. I got to remember, I was a kid that went to prom, and you always go out to eat, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
did we tip like crap or whatever? But I had this cute little couple. They were at prom, and I said, are you okay? What's going on here? He's like, oh, don't worry, my mom is in the business. And I said, bravo, young kid, bravo. So he tipped me. It was a good tip. But anyways, I had these two ladies. It was every time I'm at the table, I need a straw, I need another drink. The other person needs a drink. They've got a baby. Blah
Mm.
blah blah. There's dishes all over. Don't take this. Blah 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 blah. Just back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
And then they leave. And apparently, the lady didn't realize that in the restrooms, there are baby changing stations. So this nasty swamp witch leaves the diaper on the table. So they pay. And I'm like, all
Oh
right,
my
whatever.
God.
Mm-hmm. And then again, I got a tip. It was whatever. It's just Gaytrice, be grateful. I've had people not tip me, and I just say, Hakuna Matata, whatever.
Yeah.
But bless their hearts. It's irritating when you are work, and that's how you make your money, but whatever. But not only, hello there, not only did they leave that diaper for me, they left their phone. So I'm sitting here thinking, I said, what do you do with this phone? What do you do with this phone? And I am a nice person. So I said, don't throw it in the trash because I was livid. I said, maybe I'll put it in the restroom in the baby changing station so that they know that those things exist. Oh my gosh, I was so hot. But I said, no, 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 don't do that either. Just chuck it. I was like, I was going to chuck it underneath the booth pretty far in there.
Oh
So I
yeah.
was like, okay, so then eventually it'll be found. But I didn't want them to find it that day. I was mad.
That's so funny.
I'm like, I probably shouldn't be telling this, but whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter because they come back and they said, oh, did you see our phone? And I said, your phone? No, I didn't see a phone at all. And the hostess, bless her heart, I was so mad at her. She says, you lost your phone? Give me your number, I'll call it. And I'm thinking to myself, don't call it, don't call it, don't call it. But they called it, and then eventually I think she saw the light under the booth. But I
Oh.
said, oh my, there it is. I was hoping. I really should have put that in that baby changing station so that she knew where to go because that's
That
just
is disgusting.
it's nasty.
Who does that?
Um, some nasty lady.
That's gross.
Mm-hmm.
My son, my middle son, he's in the army now, but his very first job when he was in high school was at this cute little Chinese place in Colorado Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing like waiting tables and getting to go orders ready, and he was doing all that kind of stuff. So we actually, on Google reviews for the restaurant, there were like a couple like bad reviews about him personally. Because at the time he had like long blonde hair, so he was really like, and then I think, he's just got this kind of like relaxed attitude. He could, when he had his long hair, he did kind of resemble like a surfer dude because he just has like this cool, relaxed attitude. And in being his first job, he definitely wasn't perfect at it by any means. But whenever they were out of something, the owners had told him to say like they're chopping salmon in the back, or like we can't get to it right now because they're doing something else, but cutting salmon in the back was a lot of like the times he used that excuse. So there was like 2 specific reviews where they're like, I've been here a couple times and there's this blonde waiter who always tells me that they don't have time for me because they're chopping salmon in the back.
Oh, that's funny. And that's not even his fault.
No, it was so hilarious. And so he shaved his head during his senior year for like one of those charities, and like gave his hair away for, one of the cancer charities. And we used to joke that people probably thought that they got a new waiter because then there was another review after he shaved his head, and it said something about this kid was such a nice waiter and he was so sweet to them. And so we were like making fun of him, and we were like, they probably think that it's a new waiter. They probably don't even recognize you.
That's so funny. Every time I messed up, I told people it was my first day. It would be year 10. If I forgot something, I'm like, I'm sorry, it's my first day. They're like, really? It doesn't seem like it. And I said, no, it's not. I just forgot. Sorry. I'll go get it for you. Also, even though your name is on the receipt, if somebody liked me, and of course you're like kind of having fun with your table, my name is Gaytrice. If they didn't like me, Tiffany. And what is your name? My name is Tiffany. Even though I don't tell them. I was like, okay, if you're going to complain, even though I'm like the server with no hair, if they would describe me, everybody knows who it is. But
Yeah.
if not, complain about Tiffany. I don't know why she was so rude.
Oh my God.
We didn't have any Tiffany's.
Somewhere there's a Google review for some crappy waitress named Tiffany for that
Yeah.
restaurant.
And it
Every
wouldn't
time
be
I go
accurate.
in, there's this person named Tiffany who always messes up my order.
It wouldn't be accurate. I was a great server. Back in the day, I was good. I would
I can
hustle.
imagine.
Yeah, well,
It's
I had like a little cheat sheet because I would when somebody would walk in, I had a book and I would write. For some reason, I'm really good with remembering our conversation and like what we talked about. So I would write their name down and then their conversation. And then when somebody would come in again, I'd look at them. I was like, oh, I think we talked about this. Boom. And they would come in, and
wow.
that's the secret. You got to get people.
Yeah, holy cow.
Cheers. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, or at least the server. And that's how, like, maybe they didn't sit with me that time, but afterwards they would ask. It's just, you just got to remember people's names.
Oh.
And also, us being in customer service, the restaurant I worked at served bread. So this is too. It's like, if you want to make money, don't be in the back on your phone talking, eating bread. You got to be out there talking to the people. And
Yeah.
bless their hearts, the poor hostesses, some of them, they had no clue, or they would always seat the guy that they liked so he would make more money, and said, hey, I understand that you think Toby is cute, but I'm not here just to stand around. Stop skipping me. Let me, like, give me my tables. But people be like, why'd you seat me? Why didn't you seat me? Why'd you seat me? Why didn't you seat me? I said, seat me. If you got to do a triple seat me, I don't care. I'll figure it out because I'm not here to be to not make money.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're in that kind of job and the minimum wage is ridiculous and like you're working for tips.
When I started, it was $2.13, but you're also getting tips. But
Mm-hmm.
that was back in Albuquerque, 213. I have no idea what they're making now. It's a lot of money, but
It's
things have gone
not
up.
right, right. The minimum wage for wait staff has not gone up like regular minimum wage has. It's not been like, you know, it's not comparable right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know the federal minimum wage for wait staff is still pretty low. And there are people that are trying to get rid of the wait staff minimum wage altogether, because everybody's working for tips now. Like everywhere you go there's a tip jar out, like, or you just go, like, you go to get your coffee and they ask for a tip, or you go to get I've seen tip jars at, like, oil and tire change places and stuff. Everybody's asking for tips now.
Mm. They can ask. I'm like, you do my to-go food, or like my carry out wait tables, or even those places. I guess they bring you. The only thing they do is bring you a soda. What is it, like a Golden Corral? My mom
Oh
likes Golden
yeah.
Corral. We used to have. No, did they do that at first? I don't remember, but Golden Corral, they'll bring you your drink and
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
take your dishes. So I'm like, all right, I'll tip you.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
as much as when you have to wait tables
That's what
or
I was gonna say. That I don't think it's necessarily like 20% tip, but
mm-mm. And
like you can
the
throw a
to-go
couple bucks
server,
down. Hmm.
I I tip them too.
The to go people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But again, that's just because I don't I don't know. It's just me. They're putting your food together.
Right.
Make sure you put the right stuff in there. But yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
There's
My mom dated somebody once and I saw how he tipped. I said, either talk to him or
he was a bad tipper.
mm-hmm. I
That
said, uh-uh.
that says something. That really
Yeah.
says something, you know?
Yeah.
One of my grandfathers was a notoriously small tipper, and I know my dad used to like he would like go back to the table and put like a couple more bucks on the table, you know?
I've done that going out. So then it's like you got to avoid going out with the the people that
The stingy people.
mm-hmm. Yep. Totally.
Because
Totally.
then you know you're gonna be like adding more tip. You're gonna be like, okay, I gotta bring 5 extra bucks or
Yeah. But you know what though? There's something else too. This was a story that the restaurant would tell us. It was a little old lady would come in and she didn't eat that much. Like I think she'd come in every day, order soup and water, and that's not a big bill, and leave her
Mhm.
$2. But it was just something that was for her. So, is it all about the money? I mean, it's important. You got to make money for your bills and stuff. And you would
Yeah,
hope that somebody wouldn't go in and just be like, oh, well, I don't believe in this. Because I've gotten those too. I've gotten I don't believe in
yeah,
tipping. Well, you don't have to give me the card. The fact that you left me nothing lets me know that you don't believe in it. And that's just the system that we have. I know
yeah,
other countries don't do it, but also if I were to get this lady, I would be happy to see her every day, knowing that all I'm going to get is $2, a
mhm,
$2 tip, and she's going to sit there and we're going to talk. But because I had customers like that, you've got the older customers that want to come in, they want somebody to talk to,
yep, mhm.
and it's fun to get to know them. And that was one of the stories. And um, they told us when that lady passed, all the service, I think even the restaurant closed down to go visit that or to go and pay their
Oh,
respects for her. So
that's so sweet.
customer service can be great.
It can. Yeah. Mhm.
But
Those are the
that's a
times.
different type because I'm like, you think about the retail customer service and what it's like, oh, after we talk, I'm about to go. Pray for me. I'm going to the mall. Ugh.
Oh, no.
Yes, I got to go to the grocery store. Grocery stores, they see people all the time because I've gotten to, I don't know their names, but I'll see some people at the grocery stores I go to, and
Yeah.
for some reason, I I don't know. People like to hug me, and I'll have a stranger hug me. I have the people at the customer service hug me, and it doesn't make me sad. I'm I'm a I'm a hugger, but
You just have like a kind aura about you though.
thank you.
Like you exude your kindness. I think people can just tell, you know?
And then it might be my perfume too,
You also smell good.
my euphoria, a little bit of magic going on there. Yeah. I like Joel. I wish that you wanted to
I
give all the people raises. There's some nightmare stories, but like there's good stories too. It just depends on which version you're in. Because the
Mhm.
retail, like we're saying, you're not going to see these people all the time. There's no need to. If they're being rude, then some people will let them know you're being rude. There's no need to be rude. For
Mhm.
me, I would probably go tell their manager, go check on this person. Did they have a break? But
That's really great. That is really great. That's something I've never thought about doing, but I love that idea. Instead of going to complain about somebody, instead of
well,
like try because like there's people who are going to try to get you on in trouble on purpose, you know.
there are, which that stinks.
Hmm.
That really does stink.
Like you are messing with someone's livelihood, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they told us leave your stuff outside when you're working,
Hmm.
and sometimes it's not easy to do. You have
Yep.
no idea. So that's my whole philosophy. That's just
Yeah.
that's just me. What does it say? I have the duck feathers. Just let it
Oh,
roll off.
slides off you.
I mean, there's some things I have feelings. My feelings would be hurt about some things,
Hmm.
and I would like to be proven right. If I'm right, I'm like, okay. But then other times I say it's just not worth the
Yep,
fight.
exactly. Hmm.
But we
When
should
we
be
were, oh, sorry. When
yeah.
I was at Panera, we would give out like we would give cookies, to solve
Mm,
problems. So it's like they would come and they would complain about something and oh, I'm so sorry and let me see if I can make that right for you, but also here's a cookie. And I tell you, just by giving out a cookie, that fixes like everything. People are then like, "Oh, wow, okay," you know.
or candy. See, there you go. That's a trick right there. I use that in my the airline I worked at. I used to order parts for grounded aircraft, and if I had bad news to tell somebody, finally she knew my secret. But there was one person. I go up and I'm like, "Hey, would you like a piece of candy?" And then she's like, "Yeah." And I say, "Alrighty. Well, this part's delayed. It won't be getting here until this time." She's like, "God dog it!" But then, boom. Okay. Then eventually, anytime I had to tell her bad news, I had the candy. She's like, "What's wrong?" I said, um, "This is what's wrong. This happened." But it just kind of eases the news a little bit.
That's really
And
funny.
and
I
I did my
wonder.
job, but it's kind of like, oh, some people were not good at their job, and they knew that I was going to be doing what I had to do. And if I'm telling you something that I can't control, I'm letting you know. Or if I made a mistake, I'll let you know. But the
Yeah.
the candy part kind of make them not get mad at me if I really did make a
Oh my
mistake.
gosh, that's so funny. I wonder if now there are like some people in the world who associate candy with bad news now.
With me, probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's back in the day. Now, if I go to work, I just hand out candy because um, apparently one of my coworkers thinks that I'm trying to take over the world by sweetening people up, and then it'll be easier for me to mind control, or it's not mind control, but take over. So watch out. Pretty soon, everyone will have their shades closed and
Gaytrice and
foil
her
around.
candy.
Yeah, and
I
conspiracy
mean,
theories.
usually in Colorado, if you see tinfoil in somebody's window, it's because they're growing weed in there. So
Oh well, mine is no. I just got that from that show, the spin-off of Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul.
yeah.
The brother, I think he didn't like to go outside, and he had like foil all over the place. I think that was a good show.
Um, I'm I'm definitely down for foil hats. Like if I think that the aliens are gonna come get my brain, but I'm also thinking that if an alien comes here, they're probably not going to want our brains because those aliens are going to be way smarter than us anyways because they've figured out, space travel
Hmm.
and we haven't.
Um, I'm not going to use foil because I think it costs too much. I got to go buy some later, so I'm gonna have to find something that's a little bit cheaper. I'm like, nah, I can't deal with that.
That's funny.
Hmm.
So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I had so much fun talking to you.
Peggy, thank you so much for having me. I think this was so much fun. I hope
Yeah,
I
for
didn't
sure.
was like, oh, I love it. The customers are cool. Customers are going to be customers. So there
Right.
were there were a lot of horror stories, but
Oh
there's some great
yeah.
stories too.
Yeah, I've definitely had some where, like I've wow, words are not coming to me. I've been made to like cry before by customers or,
Same.
like people can be super super rude, but um like you were saying there's so many different reasons why what somebody's going through different, different things in their lives And you do try to leave stuff at the door when you walk into work, but it's not always going to happen for you. So you can be having a bad day. They can be having a bad day. You happen to just clash or collide on like the wrong day with each other.
Yeah.
There's
But
a
it's
lot
helped
of
me have a lot of
reasons, but
patience. Hence the fact I'm brave enough
yes,
to try to go to the flipping mall because what why? Why am I going to go to the mall right now?
we went to Costco yesterday and it was pretty crazy.
Great Caesars goes. I think I might try to go there. And Sam's, I've got several stops.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
But I'm excited. But thank you for having me. And
Thank you
thank you
for
for
coming.
people that were listening.
Yeah. Have a great Christmas, Joel.
Totally.
And you have a wonderful Christmas. I'm so glad we got to talk. We've got more to talk about for sure. So definitely get you on and talk about more stuff.
Peggy, it would be my pleasure. I'm, I'm here for you. If you can't
Chick-fil-A.
tell, I like to talk, huh? Shoot. Yeah, don't even get me started with that. But yeah, they give your dogs treats.
Do they?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hmm.
That's so
And we
funny.
used to do that too. The restaurant I worked at for to go. Sorry, people, I'll let you go, but it's just all those little things would make a good experience. Like
Yeah.
those pup cups. Some people
Yeah.
don't like Starbucks, but um, when I had a dog, and I didn't get to take Coco, and that makes me sad. I wanted to take Coco, but I'm
Oh.
like, I make coffee at home. I had no reason to leave, but
Mm.
it all the time. I'm like, okay, my Anastasia gets a pup cup, and I'll get a mocha. So it's just all those little things. But
Yeah.
again, it would be my pleasure, and happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, happy
Yeah. Merry
Hanukkah,
Christmas to you too.
happy Kwanzaa, happy Festivus for the rest of us. And
All right.
take care. Be safe.
You too.
And thank you. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye.